Hello everyone, Silent here and welcome back to another Minecraft Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today I'll be showing you the best sugarcane farms in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. We're going to be exploring the super fast Bonemeal based designs, observer sugarcane farms, and a new super compact farm as well. We're going to be doing tutorials for all the builds in today's video along the way, so by the end of today's video you'll know what the best farm for you is and how to build all these farms in your Minecraft world. Our first farm in today's video is by far the simplest and honestly one of the most powerful as well, and this is the Bonemeal based sugarcane farm. This will provide roughly 18,000 items per hour, but also consumes about 9,000 bone meal per hour, because you get 2 sugarcane for every 1 bone meal that you put into the farm. This one is absolutely tiny and so cheap as well. Like, this is literally all of the resources that you need to build it, and it's also got a tiny footprint as well. You can squeeze this in basically anywhere in your base. If you have yourself a bone meal farm or a mob farm, then this is probably the only sugarcane farm you will ever need. To build this farm, you're going to need a 3 wide area that is 4 blocks deep with 2 blocks underground and 4 blocks above the ground. All you're going to do is place in a piece of water right here with a piece of sugarcane right there to the side of it. You want a dispenser behind that and 2 pistons going up above it like so. Remove this block right here and place in a piece of redstone dust. Make sure you have a solid block here and right here as well. And now we're going to remove these 3 blocks, remove those 2 blocks, and then remove these 2 blocks right here as well. We need ourselves in a double chest like so. Swing around the backside and place in a hopper into the back of that chest, a hopper on the top of it, and then a hopper into the side of that one as well. That is a double speed hopper unloader, and that is because this thing produces twice as many items as a single hopper can handle. So you need twice the unloading speed. From here, go ahead and place in yourself a redstone torch. That's going to lock that hopper. Don't worry about it. It has no effect on the farm. Place in yourself a repeater right there, a solid block right there, and that is going to start clocking. If you place in a redstone torch right there and then a block above that, that is going to start extending your pistons. Just place in a lever right there, flick that, and everything should stop. And now we're going to box in this entire thing with glass. So put some glass here on the side like so, and some more on this side as well. Put 3 more blocks of glass above that hopper, and then just a couple of lower slabs on top of the farm like so. And that is actually the entire sugarcane farm done. You'll need to put yourself some bone meal into this dispenser, and you may also want a hopper right here with a chest above it. That way you can fill up a lot more bone meal. Once you've put some bone meal into the system, simply unflick the lever, and then you have sugarcane on demand. And as you can see, it is just coming in super duper quickly. If that isn't enough sugarcane for you, then you can actually double the farm. Put a dispenser right here with 2 pistons above it. Place in yourself a water source right there, a piece of sugarcane, and then break out these 2 blocks right here, those 2 blocks down, and then those 2 blocks. Place in yourself a double chest right here, a hopper behind it, hopper above it, and hopper going into that hopper. Once you have all that in place, place in 3 glass blocks above the front hopper, and then just another couple layers of glass on the side, a couple slabs to top off the build. And it's as simple as that. Once you fill it up with bone meal, you can turn it on and the farm is doubly activated. This is going to be producing 36,000 sugarcane per hour. Now, you might be wondering if any of the sugarcane ever gets lost, and due to our double pistons, you never lose a single piece of sugarcane, which is pretty great. Real quick note, if you're playing on a multiplayer server, I would highly recommend running this on a 4-tick repeater. That way it doesn't add to the lag of your server, and then it might also run a little bit more reliably as well. As you can see, it runs a lot slower on a 4-tick repeater, so it's just a lot nicer to the server that you're playing on. Just a real quick note, if you want to have your bone meal input chest on the front of the farm, you can actually do that really easily. Have a chest right there with 2 hoppers running into your dispenser. Your dispenser is actually going to be to the side of the sugarcane, and then you simply have a piece of redstone underneath your pistons going into solid block, and that actually powers everything just fine. This design is probably one that you've all seen. However, this one isn't really like all that great. So basically what you got is you got some basic sugarcane plants. These grow up over time. They're detected by the observers and then they all get broken and pushed into a water stream, or maybe you have a hopper minecart run underneath. Now, if you just use a water stream, this is actually going to be a very, very lossy design. As you can see, just a couple of test plantings, and we got sugarcane all over the ground of it. This is a stackable design, so you can put multiple of these on top of each other, but it's not very space efficient either, because you have a 3 tall area for the sugarcane instead of a 2 tall. There are ways to improve upon this basic design, but overall, it's just not really that good. The rates of this farm will vary greatly depending on how many plants you have and how big you build it, but in general, expect the rates to be very slow. To build this type of farm, you're going to need a 10 wide area that is 5 blocks deep. It's going to be going 5 blocks above the ground and 1 block below the ground. We're going to start off by placing an 8 wide section of dirt, sand, or grass in the middle of the farm. Go ahead and get in a line of solid blocks behind that as well, and then we need a line of pistons on top of those. Turn around and we need a line of observers, a line of solid blocks behind and below those, and then a line of redstone dust as well. We're now going to go ahead and box in this entire thing with a wall of glass blocks, or really whatever else you want. So go ahead and build up your walls on all sides to the same height as your observers. Once the basic structure is complete, break into one side of the farm, place down a water bucket on one edge, and then we can start planting in all of the sugarcane. Once all of the sugarcane is planted in, you can get to the very end of the farm and simply break out a couple of these glass blocks, place in yourself a double chest, and then after the very final water, just place in a hopper going into that chest. So now any sugarcane that grows up on its own will be harvested. Some of it's going to get lost inevitably, and then the other ones will be going into your chest. It is fully expandable, so if you want to, you can build this exact same thing on the other side and have 2 water streams going into this same hopper. You can also stack these farms on top of each other if you want to by removing this roof and putting your next layer of glass blocks right here, and then you just extend up these walls going to the top of the farm. If you ever want to turn off this build, simply power this redstone line with a lever or something else, and that will completely disable your farm. Next up, we got one of my personal favorite types of farm in Minecraft, and that is the flying machine farms. These ones are always so cool looking. With the press of a button, you can harvest an entire field of sugarcane, and surprisingly, these ones are actually pretty cheap on a per plant basis. So with this single design right here, you'll get about 600 sugarcane per full harvest of the farm, and you can make this farm as long as you want. You can stack it one on top of another, or you can put multiple side by side. It isn't actually that expensive on the top side of the farm, just some leaves, some stairs, and then the flying machine, of course. Down below the farm, you will need a significant amount of redstone just for item collection, such as a lot of rails, hopper minecarts, and minecart unloaders. However, comparing this to the previous design, it is still much cheaper because you don't need that much redstone per plant. All of this redstone right here is actually pretty insignificant when you compare it to the sheer number of sugarcane plants that we have. Item collection is also a little bit fancy looking, where all the items go into a water stream and then you just send them straight into your storage system. You can of course also set this thing up on a clock, that way it harvests automatically, or you can just straight up press a button to fire the machine. I originally designed this farm back in late 2018, so if you want to see what I sounded like about 4 years ago, and if you want to build this farm, then check out the video in the upper right. Surprisingly, this thing has not broken or changed whatsoever. It still works perfectly fine, and there's nothing wrong with it 4 years later. Okay, it's trying to kill me right now, but I think, you know what, we can let it slide. It is a 4-year-old after all. And next up, we have the ultra-compact sugarcane farms that you may remember from the olden days of Minecraft, maybe with slime launchers or something like that. But this is essentially the most compact you can really get a sugarcane farm without observers, without bone meal, without flying machines, just good old-fashioned letting that sugarcane grow and then harvesting it every now and again. So this right here has 2 sugarcane plants every 5 blocks. It is stackable, and all the sugarcane falls down the middle or rides along some water streams. This right here is just a single slice, but you can make this up to 16 blocks long before you need to have a break in between modules, and of course you can have these back to back as well. I made it my mission in life to try and find the most compact way of doing sugarcane, and I believe that this right here is basically as compact as you can get it. So here is one of the large scale farms. The water streams going across the top and the bottom are for the item transportation, and of course they also hydrate the crops as well. So when these get harvested, all the sugarcane go down the middle and basically go straight into your storage system. And with this design, you get a full stack of sugarcane every single time that it harvests. If you like design number 2 of today's video, then this one is kind of like the ultimate way of doing that. To demonstrate the farm, we can press this temporary button that harvests all the sugarcane, and as you can see, a lot of it goes into the water streams up above, and the majority of it also falls straight downwards as well. It's also relatively cheap because every sugarcane plant only needs 1 piston and 1 redstone dust. Tiling these builds right next to each other is also super easy as well, and as you can see, it stays very, very compact. Now, if you have 2 right next to each other like this, you will need double torch towers, and at the ends you will need target blocks. That way the signal strength actually powers these very far edges. If you want to build this, it is incredibly straightforward. You just replicate this one section right here 16 times, and then you have an entire module. And then once you get to the middle, you're going to need to go ahead and place down 2 water sources right next to each other, like so. That way no items get stuck in the middle. On the very ends, you'll need some open fence gates. That way the cobble walls don't have weird hitbox issues, and you start losing sugarcane at the top. And that is pretty much all there is to it. It's actually a pretty fun and unique challenge because you need to get in the sugarcane, the water sources, lights, the pistons, and also the redstone lines to activate it all. Not only that, you also need to figure out item collection without using hopper minecarts, and that opens up a whole wild goose chase of different technical ideas. We did an entire live stream where we went over all these ideas, and if you want more insight onto this project, then check it out. It's linked up above. So here's my breakdown of the 4 different sugarcane farms that I've showed you in today's video. You can see all the pros and cons of these different farms on screen right now. Basically, if you have yourself any form of bone meal supply, the bone meal powered sugarcane farm is going to completely destroy all of the other sugarcane farms. However, I tried to highlight all of the different designs in today's video. That way you get an idea of all the different ways to farm this one simple crop. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you learned a thing or just enjoyed the video, then consider dropping a like as it helps out the video and the channel a ton. If you're new here, then maybe consider subscribing to help us reach 500,000 subscribers. And otherwise, I'll see you guys down in the comment section and in the next one. Thanks again. And then there was silence.